All right, so got everyone logged in online. Let me think here. So we were talking about metaphysics, reality. Reality's a scary thing for some people sometimes. And different issues that come up or questions that come up under this subfield of philosophy. We're talking about the self. I see that at the end here. What do we mean when we talk about us or about us individually? And there's some competing views about this, more than the two that I put here. There's actually will be part of the reading at some point. About dualism, whether we're something more than just a physical body. Maybe there's a spiritual element to our existence as well, and materialism. So, yeah, things that come up underneath this also, this topic. I think I mentioned like consciousness, what makes us human, how do we know that there's an us, that there's a we, that there's an I? What do I mean? Is there any way I can prove that to myself? Yeah, things like this, all about reality still. Another issue that comes up is one of, I'm going to erase this here, of freedom, let's say, versus determinism. So are we truly completely free agents? Are we doing whatever we want to do from one moment to the next? Or is everything already determined ahead of time? Or some people say predetermined. But I know that seems redundant to me. But anyway, are things ahead of time? Are they, okay, that's fine, predetermined. But again, are we making our own decisions? Everything we decide to do right now, someone's, taking notes here, someone's looking at their phone, someone's getting ready to go to sleep. You're total, I'm just, general. You're freely deciding to do all those things, and it's not part of a script that you're following, or unwittingly or not. It's not part of some of these things, or maybe all of them, are not part of any divine plan of any sort, but you're freely doing them because you're making decisions from second to second, maybe multiple decisions all the time to do this, do that. Or are you just acting out? Are you just an actor in a big play, and you probably don't know it, but everything you do and everything you say is already thought out. It's in the notes. It's in your script. You're just following it, right? Well, are we completely free agents? I don't know. Is everything completely predetermined? I kind of hope not, right? Actually, freedom plays a really huge part in Christianity, at least. I can't speak for any other religions. In our our compliance and our agreement with salvation, it requires that we be free, that free to make a decision one way or the other. And that's part of our, right from the very beginning, when we talked about Adam and Eve, and they freely had the choices to do what they did, or to do something different, and they chose what they chose. Why? Because they had freedom. Why were they able to? Because they have freedom. God gives us freedom. So there are things that are free. Maybe there's some big things that are predetermined. Who you're going to get married to, where you're going to go to college. I don't know what your lot in life is. Ultimately, maybe some big things are, but probably not a yawn or a sneeze or. That's got to be pretty busy, right, Brennan? I mean, at some point, it's like
do everything for us.
Yeah, I mean, I made you how you are. You might sneeze sometimes. It's okay. It's good. Just spelling stuff out. That's all right. Yeah, I think most of us maybe believe in some mixture, but maybe more on the freedom side than on the determinism side. But I think that's maybe a human reaction to just maybe just want to believe that we're making more free than we really are. maybe we're not as free as we think. Maybe things are more. Who knows, right? Yeah, and then this brings up other things like poor Judas. Like I don't mean to get too sympathetic, but Judas, if he doesn't do what he does in the New Testament, if he doesn't betray Jesus for 30 pieces of silver and give him a kiss on the cheek, then Bible prophecy is that Jesus is not the Messiah. Then, that prophecy from Isaiah is not fulfilled. What an odd thing, right? I mean, what a horrible thing to put on somebody, right? Say, yeah, you got to do this. Now you're going to burn in hell for it, but if you don't do it, then I know it's not. I don't think he knew that. I don't think he realized it, but yeah, well, maybe we'll see Judas on the good side later. Who knows, right? I mean, he obviously felt bad about it. It was all over. Because I watch Jesus Christ Superstar. I know what happens. Oh, and it's in the Bible. That movie was so good they should write a book about it. Yeah, they really should. Thank you. I have a laugh track on my phone, and I got a Bluetooth speaker over there. And where you guys don't laugh, where you should, some people in my class last quarter, and I used it sometimes. Were you doing that?
You need a sign.
Yes, I need a sign that applause, laugh, right? Hysterical laughter.
Is that the cue when you hit the whiteboard? Is that what we're talking about?
Say again?
Whenever you hit the whiteboard, is that our cue?
Well, this was kind of my little snare drum cymbal thing, but I don't have. I could easily get a snare drum and a cymbal, though, right?
You know where they are.
And I can do the beat. I probably can do that.
With the cowbell.
I'll get William to. We do need more cowbell. That's true. You can never have too much. You never can go too heavy on the cowbell. All right. So that's one thing. I had someone write a paper about this, and I encouraged them to. A student a few years ago who was a Presbyterian. I already went to Presbyterian church, first Presbyterian downtown. But some of the roots of the Presbyterian. Is anyone Presbyterian? I always have to ask. I mean, not that I'm going to change my story, but okay. So it's not a bad story. It's just some of the roots of the Presbyterian church, where it begins, are rooted in an idea of things being predetermined, that we're not free, that we have the appearance of freedom, and it looks like we are, but really we're all acting out our script here. And the church, theologically, Presbyterian church has moved away from that teaching because it does conflict with the importance of our freedom to choose or to reject God, and that being something that a loving God would allow. A loving God's not going to compel us to love him any more than a loving father or husband or wife or boyfriend or girlfriend is going to compel their partner or spouse to love them. That's horrible. It could be horrible, right? Like, I'm going to put you in the basement until you love me. Yeah? I don't know. I mean, no, that's not the way God works. There's freedom involved. And so, anyways, paper was about this kind of movement away from determinism within their theology. It was a pretty good paper. I mean, it was something unique. I kind of read enough cohabitation papers to be ready for something different. Probably, yeah. It just depends on how many I get. Because we try to divide them up equally among all the teachers.
Do you know who has it?
Say again?
Do you know who has it at the start? Like, do you know who are...
You'll have a pretty good idea, but you'll know for sure. Well, you'll have somebody who advises you, but that person may not be the one who's grading it though. And then, but after they're turned in, then you'll know who has it. Yeah. Yeah.
So it would be like you, Stephen.
Yeah. Who else in it? Stephen, Malarkey, is Medina, is Stormer. Does he have one? No. Has he ever seen your seminar class? I thought he did, but maybe he has before. There's like 5 teachers.
Oh, so it's all the people with these first hour classes.
Right. And we'll divide them up by topic, but if something that Malarkey taught gets, more than, more papers, then we'll have to divide some of those. And so if I got more papers, then, it's a normal portion for those 5 people. How many people are in the class? About 100 or 90 something? So about 20 papers per person, right? And if I end up with 25 papers, then they'll probably take away some and give them to, yeah, so more than likely I would get it, more than likely. Yeah, and I didn't tell you guys this yet, but I told people last quarter, I don't have I need to make one, but I don't have a list of like senior thesis topics that I suggest. I would like to come up on your own, but I do in class, I throw out ideas. So if maybe something strikes you as being interesting, whether I just, it's part of a regular lecture, or I say, hey, that'd be a good senior thesis topic, feel free to write it down and take a look and see if it's something you could write about. The worst thing about writing a paper that could possibly happen is that you get into it and you hate your topic, like you're not that interested in it. And then you're like 4 pages into a 10-page paper and you just dread the idea of like, doing more research on this horrible topic that you chose. But now you're that far in, you might as well go ahead and, so don't, choose something that you're interested in. Choose something that, say again?
Is there like a prompt? Or is it kind of like just write?
No, there's no prompt. I mean, you'll have to present your topic to that advisor I was talking about. And then you'll, so there might be some advisement about, yeah, I need to narrow it down a little bit, or that might not be a good topic because it's hard to find sources about that, or something like that. But, for the most part, everything's, so no, but it has to be based on one or a combination of one or more classes you took in the senior seminar.
So you're on with someone.
Say again?
So you're on with someone class.
Yes, on one or a combination. Like, some things like maybe this class might overlap with something that Malarkey taught, so that'd be fine. That's perfectly fine. That's actually cool. But usually it's over, usually people write over something from one particular class. Or some, as long as it's related. I mean, it really is pretty broad, right? I mean, between taking this class, philosophy, which is, like I said in the very beginning, is a really broad. There's not a lot of topics that are off limits, really. It's pretty wide open. I mean, there's be some things, but that have to fall somehow under the umbrella of these courses that you actually took. But you're taking this one and probably one other that's pretty broad as well, so you could probably make a lot of things fit. Anyway, so determinism would be that things are set. And you can just imagine, like, if we believe this, and if as a society we believed in determinism, I don't really know if the criminal justice system would really be a necessary thing anymore. Right? Well, what would a judge say? Well, you murdered your neighbor with a rape, but what are you going to do, right? I mean, that was in your script. Apparently that's what you're supposed to do. You can't help it. You don't see your script, but that's just so don't do it again if you can help it, but case dismissed. I mean, I don't know, like it causes problems when it comes to, because in general, the court system also believes that you are free to choose if you want to, swing that axe at somebody or not, and or pull the trigger or not. You're assuming that you're not mentally imbalanced or have some aggravating circumstance going on, you are still free to put down the gun, no? to not do what you maybe want to do. That's certainly a lot of that is predicated upon that. That's the basic idea. Okay, so freedom and determinism, maybe a mixture of both. Okay. Oh, I had this gym I used to go to a long time ago. There was a guy who, I was in the locker room and I was getting dressed to go work out, and I put on my shoes, and this guy walked by my row of lockers, and he stopped and he came back, and he was like, he's a little bit younger than me maybe, and he was like, hey, where'd you get those shoes from? And I said, Famous Footwear, I don't know, something like that. Really, do they have different sizes? I said, yeah, I think so, as I remember. But I really didn't remember, because I needed shoes, and I bought, that's how men shop. We don't really, you go in, you get the shoes, they fit, you like them, get out of there, right? Go home, go to the gym. So I bought them a little bit. Oh man, I've really been looking for a pair of shoes just like that. And all right, so Famous Footwear, or what? Oh, on 41st or whatever. Oh, okay, great. And then he told me, he said, I've really been praying that God would help me find that pair of shoes, because I really wanted that pair of shoes. And part of me wanted to say, I don't know if God cares about that or not, really. maybe he wants you to have shoes, but maybe, the brand and size and design, I don't really know if he's, I don't know if he's involved in all of that, right? Okay, so I'm just using it, maybe he is, but, things being that predetermined down to the details like that, yeah. Both teams, in the locker room probably are praying for victory, right? They have a well-intentioned pastor who comes in and prays for the team, and they're very serious about it, right? But there's only one winner at the end of the game. What's his soccer? Not one of the tie, apparently, sometimes.
Or God just likes it to the guy.
Right, I mean, exactly. Right, maybe the one team is just more just than the other. Just individually, as a team, but individually, people, they're just better people. Yeah, they're just more saintly. And so, I'm not sure if it works that way either. It seems like maybe that would be more weight room related, right? Or, I've been to a lot of football games, William, you know that. I've been to a lot of weird places with William around the state, and Brendan too, and before that. But sometimes I've gone into, I don't know, let's just say a stadium in Broken Bow or Iredell or maybe some places in Newkirk or something like that. And it's a real rural area. And the guys on their team just look gigantic, like they've just been eating corn and baling hay all summer. They just look like they don't need a weight room. They don't have time for that. They've been throwing hay up on a truck, big bales of hay with their hands. So that's a pretty good workout all day long in the hot sun. They look really huge, and they are. When you see our guys warming up, and we're just a little leaner, not quite as big. But then I've seen us beat those teams before, most of the time. But sometimes I think we play smarter,
We are in Catholic school.
But I mean, like, I think that if our coaches tell a player something needs to happen, like they get it the first time. Maybe another coach has to tell a player on their team 4 or 5 times before they. I don't know how to. I really can't account for. A lot of times you think you see these fast teams and huge teams, and you think, oh man, and then we beat them. And I think a lot of it has to do with playing smarter, not stronger. Or, I don't know. All that has to play a role. Anyway, I don't know. God's involved there too somehow. All right, the other one is we talked about dualism. Maybe there's a soul. There's a spiritual side to us. Then, so what about the reality of the afterlife, or what happens to us after we die? Do we go on living? Do we have a soul? Is that soul eternal, ageless? Does it just keep going? Living? Did that soul exist before it was used by me? Did someone else? Or is it like a recycled soul? Is there somebody else who had it before me? Or was the soul just like in a holding pen of souls over here? And until at a butcher counter, so they called your number and, time for embodiment, and you go get embodied. Or is it that soul just for you, and it's been waiting for you, and when it was created, or when that soul was created, I should say, not that it hadn't been waiting for you. When it was created, that's it. It was yours, and yours from the beginning to the end. But there is no end, maybe. Or maybe there is. But what's the reality of this afterlife? Survival after death. Does it continue forever? Or, as I said before, do we just get put in the ground and at some point people stop talking about it? There's no more flowers on your grave. Oh, I got you here. Do you know who Sam Kinison is, the comedian? Sam Kinison. Never heard of him. Okay, I've heard of him a lot. He's a pretty popular comedian, but he's from Tulsa, but nationally he's popular. And anyway, he died, I think, in the 90s sometime. And he's buried over at 51st and Memorial. What's that cemetery? Woodland, not Woodland Hills, that's a mole. Which is also dying, by the way. Woodland Hills is dying slowly. But what's that? The bigger cemetery, right? 51st. I never came there. I was just there. It's like over Christmas break. I went through there. It's really beautiful. I wouldn't mind being buried there. A lot of famous people buried there, by the way. huge.
Oh, I think I know what you're
And
talking
it's expanding,
about.
like further east, like they own that big plot now. It's plenty of room for all of us, right? Come on. Woodland Park or Woodland something. Woodlawn. No, anyway. So Sam Kenneth is buried there. And his grave is probably one of the most visited graves. Even though you guys don't know about him, he's one of the most visited graves. But I was there over Christmas break, I think, and maybe a little before. And there were coins all over his. It's one of those flat tombstones. It's like at the ground level, you know. It's not like one of these. It's horizontal. And there were coins all over his grave. I didn't see coins on anyone else's grave. There's a lot of those kind of graves like that. Does anyone know what that's about? Anyone ever seen that tradition before? No? Okay. I don't know either. Like no one else had coins. Maybe it was something in his act that he did or a movie he was in or something. Maybe he all right. I want to know about school gossip. You guys know. But this kind of stuff. Isn't there a movie Back to School? Ron Dangerfield, Robert Downey Jr. Sam Kinison was in that movie. All right. Anyone know who Robert Downey Jr. is? Anyone know who Iron Man is? Nobody. You know who Robert Downey Jr. is?
That's the only way it's known.
It's what?
That's the only reason why it's known.
Yeah. He's pretty famous actually.
Yeah, and his role in Tropic Thunder.
Yeah. Well, not to forget Tropic Thunder, or which also has a Castle Hall of Rum in the movie as well.
I not know that.
Bill Hader's in that movie.
Oh, is he in that?
He's Tom Cruise's assistant, and it actually has a pretty big role. And Bill Hader, what a crazy guy. All right, so got that. All right, I don't know how I got into that. Oh yeah, cemeteries, afterlife. Gotcha. His dad was a pastor here in Tulsa, by the way, Sam Kennison. Let's just say Sam was a little wayward, from his family's hopes and dreams for him, probably. Okay, then underneath this field as well, I feel like I'm forgetting something. Hold on a minute. Okay. Existence of God is discussed here too as a metaphysical possibility. And then we, like the last couple ones, we see more spiritual stuff, talking about the soul, talking about, even about predeterminism. If things are predetermined, then there must be if I dare say, a predeterminer, yeah? Someone who's written that script, who penned it. There must be some, bigger entity involved. So if you believe in predeterminism, then it almost requires you to believe in some kind of creator or God. Right? So we're getting more into spiritual stuff here, which goes back to the usage more of this word today. But existence of God, what do we know about God? Is God, something that transcends the natural universe? Is he all powerful? Is he all knowing? Is he good? Is he bad? Is he got good days? And is he more human-like? And is he jealous? And is he angry? And what's he like? What's the nature of God? Very difficult to know. Sometimes is he like the Old Testament God or more like the New Testament God? Right? What people ask about all the time. Is he angry? Smiting people, or is he all love and peace? And right. Well, they don't have all the answers. Is he infinite? Is he on both ends? Has he always been here and always will be? Can you create a God? And if so, wouldn't that person be the more powerful one? The one who created God? All kinds of questions like this come up under this field of metaphysics and talking about, it's really the core of theology. If you take the word theology at its root, that's what we're talking about. Although there's not a whole lot written about, that we really talk about, at least it's about the nature of God, directly written, kind of academically written about it. Not that Christology we talk about, there's some of you took that course maybe, but not so much about God, because it's just so difficult. And plus it's beyond our comprehension. If something or some entity is able to do all the things that we attribute to God, then that would be something that would be maybe beyond our capacity. Good, and then existence of good and evil, or the reality of these things, right? Good and evil, because we certainly label certain things as good or evil and say, this is good, that's evil, that's right, that's wrong, that's just, that's unjust. We're happy to label things like that and give our opinion about it. But again, is that real? Or is it just our subjective viewpoint? I have to think. I hate to use these extreme examples, but I have to think that there were that the people who flew the planes on 9/11 really felt like they were doing a good thing, and there were people who supported what happened. Not here in this country so much, but other places in the world thought it was just a great thing. We're gonna really punch, bloody the nose of the empire of the world like this, and they did. Okay, and we say it's evil, but maybe I don't know. It seems to be a little bit, flexible, really. Huh? It's good and evil, but maybe there are things that are absolutely evil, and things that are intrinsically or absolutely good, and maybe things even we could agree on that are good and evil. It's hard to think of some things, but that we all agree on that are good or evil. But maybe there are. So the reality of that is the discussion that goes on there. Then we kind of combine some of these things too, like when we talk about God and God's nature, of what God might be. I hate to erase my umbrella. It's been here all weekend. Did it rain this weekend? Did it rain this weekend?
I don't think so.
That's why it's so dry. Dry erase marker. Thank you, folks. I'm here all night. Tip your waitresses. Drive them safely. Comedy starting. No. Nobody. I told it what did I say, Murphy, last quarter? I said, the only difference between you guys and my class that I teach, or my nightclub act that I do, one thing, liquor. Right, and that's why they're laughing probably. Without that, apparently there's no, they love my philosophy jokes there, I tell you. It's fascinating. Keep going. Come back again, please. Well, there's a guy we have, you'll read about him in your text. I wish we had a lot more time. I feel like you get plenty of this from other places, but our patron, St. Augustine, is certainly counted among philosophers as well as theologian. But St. Augustine dealt with this issue of this metaphysical issue of God. So a lot of, life was kind of rough in the Roman Empire, and things started getting really pretty ugly towards the end of his life with these Germanic tribes from the north coming down and sacking all the, by the time they to North Africa, it was pretty well known to the people there, like what might happen to them, because they'd already done it to everybody in Europe and all the way down to Italy, and they're coming across now down here. So a lot of people, who had converted to Christianity, believed in the Roman gods, and they were blaming Christianity. So this is the way the gods are getting their revenge on us. This is that they're taking out their anger on us because we abandoned those gods and we turned to the Christian God. And now look what's happening. Now the whole Roman Empire is falling apart. A lot of people felt that way. And Augustine believed, and I think we all believe, that God, I mentioned this a minute ago, is all good, and he's all knowing. Somehow he's all knowing, but maybe doesn't predetermine everything. That's a tough one. Again, that's the mind of God. It's hard to know. All good, all knowing, and he says that God is all powerful. Actually, he says God is all benevolent. What does he say? But that's all right. The same thing. All powerful, and that's three qualities when you're shopping around for a God. Those are three qualities you want to find in a God, right? What was he all good? Is he all powerful? Does he know everything? Perfect. That's what we want. We want that. But it's difficult, though, to reconcile a God that has all these qualities with what appears to us to be evil in the world. If all these things are in place and they're all working at the same time, somehow.
What is the B word?
Benevolent. Benevolent. What's the opposite of benevolent? This malevolent, right? Right. Mal, that's the, who takes, is that Spanish? Malevolent, right? Does it mean bad?
Yeah. No.
Mal, M-A-L?
M-A-L.
That means bad. Okay. So these three things, difficult for our minds to comprehend how there can be evil in the world when there's a God existing like this. This is what people struggle with today as well, if you think about it. So let me just pick on Shay. Do you mind, Shay? Good. Well, I'm picking on you. Shay. So Shay, if we had mini-mester this year, let's just say that we did, okay? It was a good time. So Shay goes and does her internship during mini-mester at the Harley shop, okay? Right? You're working the reception desk. That's your aspiration, to be a receptionist, and hopefully at a motorcycle shop. Harley is that'd be great, right? BMW maybe be all right too, I guess, or some MDN. But anyway, you're working there internship, and you fall in love with one of the mechanics there of a mini-mester. And he seems nice enough, right? I mean, you just head over heels, like really like whirlwind, you know. And you come back for second semester after January, right? And you're not here. Like, is she quarantining? Is she sick? Is she exposed? Is she what? No, she's worse than that. She fell in love. And she's going to marry Spike at the Harley shop, you know? That's his name. So your parents are thrilled. No, they're not happy. Your friends try to like reason with you, you know, in a polite way. Maybe you should finish high school. You know, you only got a few months left. Maybe just get that out of the way. At least have that behind you. And you're like, no, I'm going to stay. I love him so much. And we're going to get married. And I'm going to move into his trailer home. And anyway, it's going to be all good. And so we try and try, and nobody can convince you otherwise. And so you marry him, and you move in, and you decorate his little home. There you go. You decorate his little home. You know, you give it a womanly touch, Shay, like you put flower boxes on the windows, you know, things like that, right? That nice little flower boxes. Things that only women know how to, like to put a wreath on the door, you know, right? You are welcome in this home, something like that, and a little ribbon on it. It's great. It's great. So you're living there with Spike and his two Rottweilers, right? And so, Pitbulls, I'm sorry, Pitbulls. And so you take a cycle one day to, you know, I mean, you're married, you take a cycle one day to go to the store to buy groceries, and while you're there, they huddle all of you into like a safe room, because there's a tornado coming, gotta be careful. So they make all the customers go into the shelter, and you're there, and of course you're worried about Spike and the dogs. And because you know there's some kind of scientific issue with tornadoes in this kind of house, you know? You heard about that? Well, finally the alert is over, and that's mine. And you go rushing home on the cycle, and the entire park, you know, of mobile home, it's gone. It's just flattened, you know. And you find the home and your flower boxes are scattered. Your husband's dead. And I really hate to inform you that your dogs are also dead. I'm sorry. People are more emotional than that. You kill a person in a movie, no one cares. You kill a dog in a movie, oh man, people go to the screen and start like taking knives to the movie screen. They hate that stuff. We get really, don't we? Isn't that true? Well, you get like that emotionally moves you. We're so desensitized. Kill a person, whatever. Dog. Husband, whatever. I get another one. Dogs, not the dogs, right? So you're just sitting there, Shay. You're crying, of course. Some well-intentioned pastor who doesn't, you know, just has his skills of, you know, maybe comforting people, and he sees you on the side of the path there, and he comes up behind you and maybe puts his hand on your shoulder and says, "Ma'am, I don't know who you are. I don't know exactly what you've lost today, but I want you to know that God has a plan for you." Oh. You stand up. Does he? Really? Really? Is that, yes, sister, he does. You say, well, before I dropped out of high school to marry my husband, I took a philosophy class, and we learned that God is all good, all knowing, and all powerful. And the pastor says, amen, sister, that he is. Well, if that's true, pastor, then how is it possible that God could know the tornado was coming? And how did his goodness not, compel him to use his all-powerfulness, if that's a word, to intercede somehow and keep me from having to suffer this? It seems to me that maybe God could only be two of these things, really. Like, he's all good and all-knowing. He knows it's coming. He'd like to stop it if he could. He's real sorry about it. But he doesn't have the power to do anything about it. Sorry, I don't have any authority over that. Or he's all-powerful and all-knowing, knew it was coming, could stop it if he wanted to, but he's in a bad mood today, or I don't know. He doesn't like you, or not today. You've been bad lately. Whatever. So he's just not in the mood for it today. Two of these things work, right? Maybe he's all good and all powerful. He would stop it. He can stop it. But he was as shocked as you were. He had no idea the tornado was coming. No idea. Wow, what happened? Oh, I would have stopped that if I would have known about it. Yeah. So two things work, right? Three. Again, we're kind of beyond our capacity as humans to understand how these three things can be. I don't know that tornadoes are evil necessarily. There are things we might label as evil, but it'd be difficult to reconcile how he plays a role in all of this. Well, Augustine struggles with this. It's a worthy topic, maybe a senior thesis topic, about the nature of God and how that nature interacts with what appears to be evil in the world. Certainly we label things as evil. So how are they here? Why are they a part of our life if this all-powerful God is also all good and all knowing? It's difficult to know. Maybe we're a little bit arrogant to label things as evil or good because we don't understand the big picture. We don't know what God wants. Or someone dies, yeah, maybe it's not so bad. I don't know. It's hard to comprehend how God experiences things. Augustine had a theory, so again, this might be where you might go with the senior thesis, about the way that God experiences time is different than the way we experience it. That we experience time in a linear, all we know is beginnings and ends. That's all. Everything we know about life is that things have a beginning and have an end. You got a house plant. Well, somebody planted it one day. And someday it's going to die. I mean, you won't keep it alive for so long. Maybe a long time it's alive, but eventually it dies. Everything we know living is there, but it's not going to be there forever. We don't know anything else other than that. So our sense of time is beginning, end, thinking, linear. And maybe God experiences time differently than we do. And so in the cosmic mind of God, these things are happening in a way that God can, see it happening almost like different levels of chess or something. He sees things and it's all happening kind of the idea is that it's kind of like in a block of time, like it's all kind of happening at once at the same time. There's some theological backing that goes along with that seems to make sense. But anyway, that's his basic conclusion. Okay, so existence of God, existence of good and evil, can those things go together? Well, apparently they do. May not be easy to understand, but that's how somehow they do. They appear to, at least. Appear to. Okay, questions about that? Sorry, Shay, for your loss. Your pants let you move back in with it. Oh, that's good. I'm guessing they didn't kill the fatted calf or anything, or it was in like a prodigal daughter type situation. Probably was sympathetic. Okay. What time is it, somebody?
56.
Oh. Well, I'll just say a couple things real quickly. Epistemology is the next thing we're going to talk about. And if you remember, what does that deal with? Epistemology. No. Ooh, good. No. No, knowledge. Knowledge is the next one. knowledge, huh? Things that we can know or not know.
Wait, was what we were just talking about to do with the axiology and values?
No, we haven't talked about theology yet. I mean, I mentioned it as a field, but I'm going through one metaphysics, I'll do epistemology, then axiology, in some detail. But what do we mean by knowledge? When we say I know something, what do we mean? You got a pretty good guess? You got an educated guess? It's happened, it's always been that way, so I imagine it'll be that way tomorrow, sun's gonna come up again. I know it. I know what's gonna happen, I know what that means. What do you mean? What do we mean when we say we know something? What's the opposite of knowledge? Does that help any? What's the opposite of knowledge? Not knowing. Okay, ignorance, right? Okay. So, like, I'm pretty ignorant about calculus, let's say. I really don't even know what calculus is, not to be. So, I know it's, I know that it's part of the math department. That's what I know about it. I even think I took calculus in college. I still don't know what it's about. You know, dude. Like, what are you doing? But anyway, that's okay. So calculus, yeah. But you guys, a lot of you are familiar with calculus. Some of you might know what it is, and maybe you know quite a bit about it. I'm ignorant about calculus. Do we teach statistics here? Statistics? Who teaches that?
I think it's Foster, yeah.
Who?
Foster?
Okay. What level is that? It's a math class, I guess. Oh, it's math related. Yeah. Is there an AP stat? Oh, I've heard that term before. Oh, that's good. I'm glad we did that. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, the opposite of knowledge is ignorance. Either you fully know, or you're fully ignorant about something. Maybe you got a little bit of knowledge about something. Maybe you're not totally ignorant about something. But maybe not enough to really talk about it, or really intelligently talk about it. People say it all the time. We don't have to look into that. I don't really know. So I can have a comment about it or an opinion about it. I don't know. I actually heard a politician say that the other day. I was so happy. A politician said, you know what? I'm going to have to get back with you on that. I don't know enough about it to make it educated. I was like, really? A politician said that. Wonderful. That's so great. It's a rare thing. Usually that's just rattle off what they got. Something. All right, we'll stop there. Oh.